Hello, folks, and welcome to episode 2 of True Crime Movie Time, the new Moviehooker podcast that we are doing, where we take a real case that has been adapted into a film or TV series and we talk about the case, the series, or the movie. So, for our second episode, we have chosen a case from South Korea, which is widely known as the Frog Boys incident, I think. Is it,
The
Jessica?
Frog Boys. Only the Frog Boys.
Just the Frog Boys. It happened in 1991, where 5 children went off to a mountain to look for salamanders, and they never returned home. So we're going to be talking about a movie that was released in the 1990s, also a movie from 2011 called Children, and taking a look at the real case. So, Jessica, you're up. Go for it. That's you now. That's you.
Oh yeah, I'm here. So,
Sleeping on the job.
oh I know. Shh. We have two movies and a documentary, obviously. And
Oh yeah, documentary.
the first movie, it came out just like a year after they went missing, and it's called "Come Back, Frog Boys." You can find this movie in YouTube. It's for free because the parents put some money in it. I mean, the filmmakers approached to them and they were like, we are making a movie, and to make more known this case, because back in the day it was almost impossible if the newspaper or big television media or something will helping you with that, and they weren't helping them with that. So there was a way to make more well known this case across the country. So they put some of the money in it, and I understand why they did it in that way. It's a movie about the boys. You can empathize with them. You can understand the surroundings and how this has affect not only their parents, but the friends, the schoolmates, the teachers, the whole community that become together because of this tragedy, and that it hurts them deeply. um, you can see not only the pain in them, but how joyful they were, how why they were so well loved and well known. Now, there's a little thing in the movie that I I don't know how true it is to the real life events, but I'm guessing it I mean, because they went missing looking for eggs. I mean, most of the sites and everything says that they were salamander eggs, but the parents say that one of the friends, because there were six at the beginning, but at the end only five went. They went looking for lizard eggs. So there's some sort of misconception there.
Well,
That
lizard boys, frog boys, both sound
it
equally
is
as good,
it's
you
all over
know.
the place, because media, the newspapers, when they start reporting about this, they were the first ones saying that they were looking for frogs. Now, in the movie, that I don't know if it was just to justify the name of the Frog Boys, or it really happened and that's why the media took that name, because it just makes sense. Uh, they were some sort of punish in the school because of a prank with frogs that they they did, and the punishment was, being them outside of the classroom holding the little frogs. And I don't, because they were really close. The parents say that they were like brothers. So I don't know if it's because that's one of the reasons they called the Frog Boys, because they were making pranks with frogs, and that will makes sense that they,
It's a good
yeah,
explanation.
that's why they were looking for eggs or frogs in the mountain. I mean, it makes sense. So
Hmm.
yeah, and the movie doesn't go really deep into the searching. I mean, only just the beginning because, as I said, this movie was released just in 1992, so it was just a year and probably less than a year. So it didn't have a lot of situations that now we know that happen. After that, because obviously as parents, they didn't give up. They were looking for them constantly,
Yeah.
year after year.
Left their jobs.
Hmm. So yeah, this movie is more if you want to have a sense or a look into their families, because it's each boy with their family, and the school, and Brian, it's just, they are kids. At the end of the day, they were just kids. So yeah, I mean, they are not saying not telling you they were saints, because they were kids. They do, tricks and just being normal boys. And yeah, so this is not about the case in per se, but as the parents said, this is a sad movie, and in that time, sad movies weren't really popular in Korea, so they didn't get a lot of attention. So yeah, it was kind of a bummer for them, because they just wanted to have the word out there, like, look for our kids, they are missing. Um, yeah, well, as I said, this movie is available on YouTube. I hope you speak Korean, otherwise, it's going to be a little hard. Because it's an old movie, and the old movies, is really, really hard to find subtitles. So yeah,
Oh,
um, yeah. Well, next we have the 2011, I think 2011 movie,
yeah, 2011.
Children, and oh boy, that movie made me angry. I don't know if that happened to you. Mm.
It was just an incredibly sad movie. It was like, it's when you're something with that sort of premise, with young, like young kids going missing, and you're thinking, oh, it's like some sort of serial killer movie or something, but it's really not. It sort of connects more with, as Jessica said, with like the family side and what this family done when these kids went missing, and you know all the dads left their job. They put all their money into like raising as much media attention. They had a big van that they put signs across all the van. They had speakerphones on top of the van, and they went from city, until they could no more. It was just it's really, really sad.
Mm.
So I really liked it. It was unexpected, but it's far from a thriller or you know the nasty South Korean stuff, like the stuff that we all love as well. But it's a hard watch because it's true. And when was the bodies found? Was it after the movie?
Oh no, no. They already.
Oh no, fuck no, that's right. Sure, they have that in the film. Yeah,
Yeah, no. I mean, it covered that part. Because they were found, I think, in 2001, 2001.
yeah, 2001.
Yeah, I think it was. Or yeah, it was 11 years or 10 years after. Oh no, it
Yeah,
was 2002. Sorry. Yeah, it was. I remember it was 11 years.
11 years.
Um.
Yeah, yeah.
Well. Mhm.
I think the most tragic thing
Mhm.
in the movie was when they found the corpses of these kids. there was nobody in South Korea at the time, like, I don't know, a forensic pathologist maybe, who comes a crime scene investigator. So they had normal rookie cops digging these bones out of the ground, and they were, you could say they didn't know any better, but you should know better. The way that they handled the bones and put all the bodies, just they piled all the bones
Yeah.
of these per kids on top of each
Well,
other.
that is more about the documentary, because in the movie, and that's the part that angry me a little bit and that angers me, is like they try to cover not blaming the police nor the military, because you didn't see anything about the military in the movie. Anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
And we know there's a lot of things about them. And how probably
A lot of
and how probably they were the guilty ones. So they don't show a lot
right.
of things about the bad work that the police did in the movie. And yeah, I mean, if you don't know about the case and you see the movie first, you are not going to even perceive it. It's just, like another movie where that they blame a psychopath, that it was a psychopath, the one doing it, to take off that fault or that guilt about, authorities in general, not only police, but the
Mm-hmm.
military. So that's the thing that I didn't like. The other thing that I didn't like is how they push like a journalist being the bad one, because he was this um, famed thirst journalist wanting to make a documentary to be on top, and doing his documentaries in a very suspicious way, like with questionable techniques. And he was sent to Daegu um, as a punishment in this pretty small rural place. So because he wanted to be on top again, he starts linking with a psychologist, trying to blame one of the kids' parents, and doing the whole circus. That it did happen in real life, but it wasn't because a journalist. This supposedly criminal psychologist just came out of the blue, hit him of nowhere, and saying that he was watching the case, he read all the stuff, and he came to the conclusion that one of the parents was a guilty one. So in the movie, they changed that thing to make it like it was the media. So they were trying to switch the attention, instead of police was doing a bad job and what happened with the military, because they don't even mention that they got lost close to a shooting range of one of the military districts they have, and they don't even mention that in the movie. They don't mention military at
Mm-hmm.
all.
That's because they have the as you're saying, that the criminal psychologist is the fall guy in that movie. All the blame goes to
To him,
him, because it was widely known that it wasn't he done nothing. This psychologist done nothing but cause more heartache to the parent that uh, he thought was responsible for killing 5 kids.
mm-hmm,
So that was just horrible, and that's so yeah. It's like what we were saying with the episode that we done with the Dyatlov. It seems a little bit sort of pushed by the government,
mm-hmm,
like their agenda sort of thing.
exactly.
Whereas, yeah, the military had 100% had something to do with it.
Yeah, for what we are,
I'm pretty
yeah, for
sure.
what we are going to talk with the documentary and our own theories, because we like theories in this channel. And we have our theories and we have our
We do.
conspiracies, and yeah. But I mean, from the whole case is something really, really sad. But in this specific movie, I think you told me, Gary, that you wanted to see more of the boys. You wanted to see more about them, and that's what we have in the 1992 movie. But in this one, they just focus in trying to blame somebody of that happen. I mean, they created this psychopath that supposedly like killing kids, and even when in real life, that's why everybody thinks he was the military. It hasn't happened. It hasn't happened another case like it at all. Not before them, not after them. There is no other case, not even similar to what happened to them. So how you tell me
Yeah.
in the movie that is a psychopath, that he's randomly kidnapping kids, and then he kidnaps even the journalist's daughter because he come close to find who he was, and it was just like it felt like a cheap soap opera. From If I'm thinking from the point of view of one of the parents, if you see it just like a normal movie, it's just like what you would expect, like a psychopath killing kids, because there's crazy and awful people out there. So it will make sense in that way. But to me, it feels more like the movie is just trying to divert the attention to the military, to the police, to anything that is in the government, anybody that is in the government, and just put the blame in the most common thing that is, and it sounds awful, but the most common thing is a psychopath. A psychopath who just killed the kids because he wanted to. As simple as that. And it's not a bad movie, but it's a bad movie if you take in consideration the case. If you see it like this actually happened in real life, and you are trying to make excuses for what they did in the investigation, in everything, it makes you a little bit angry, because I'm not even close to what they could be feeling, and I'm offended in behalf of the parents. I feel that it's a slap in the face for the parents, because they have been fighting so hard for government to pay attention, to see, what they saw, what they have been searching. Ah, ah. It's just that when I mean, every case is awful, but when they are pure souls, like in this case children, it makes me more freaking angry. Ah. It just makes me more angry.
Yeah. As you say, like it wasn't the most respectful thing to do. It was like because of all the whole rise of that sort of psychopath and serial killer trend from South Korea around that time.
Mm-hmm.
They add if they add in something like that, then that's how you can suck all those people that like all that stuff, like me and you.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's very disrespectful to the parents, and because, as I say, the military were not investigated, the cops were not investigated, the cops, and as you say, it doesn't go into this in the film. So this is the documentary now that I think it's just called "In Search of the Frog Boys" or something, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it came out in 2019. Oh, just to close the movie, Children. Um, It was available in movie, but I don't know if you can find it there. But I think if you just look for it around the web, you're going to find it away if you are curious to see the movie. But yeah,
You can
yeah,
find it. Yeah.
it's easy to find. It's easy to find. So yeah, In Search of the Frog Boys. Wow. Now,
In search of. Yeah.
wow, that's a documentary that even if it's not long, because I think it's an hour and a half. I think it's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Even if it's not that long, but because I mean, we're talking that happened in 1991. It's 2022. We are in 2022, and is still unsolved. So, 31 years. Back in the day it was 28 years when the documentary was shoot. So it was almost 30 years. And I mean, how you're going to put in an hour and a half almost 30 years of stories and all the research, investigation, everything that the parents did and experts. Like, it's very, very well done. And it goes just right to the facts. So I really appreciate that. It's really, really well done. And the best thing is you can find it in YouTube, because the channel that did it, like the media, because I think it's a huge, a big one, a big name, release it. It has a lot of interesting documentaries, so it's for free on YouTube if you want to watch it. Wow. I'm
In search of the frog
hmm
voice.
I'm wow. All my respect for the filmmakers, like the ones doing that. Mm. I don't know what part do you think is the one that impacted you the most?
Well, when they found the bones in the mountain of all the kids, and the fact that they didn't have the proper sub departments in their police station, like people that would go and investigate a crime scene, a forensic, I don't know, forensic fucking person. That's my final terminology. Forensic person, you know. So they sent up just normal cops who were just lifting the bones out with their hands, and not only lifting their bones out with their hands, but would place one bone on top of another bone, all from different bodies, and
On top of a newspaper.
then ask on top of a on top of a fucking
Yeah.
newspaper, and then asked the parents. Didn't they ask the parents to identify?
Yes.
Can you identify the bodies? And like, you're just like, oh my fucking god, did they actually just say that? And then you got some guy then going, oh, back in 2001, wasn't it?
Mhm. Two.
2001 that they're found. Two. We didn't have those resources in South Korea.
Mm-hmm.
So, or I don't know. I don't know if it was in South Korea or it was in, how do you say it? Daegu. Daegu.
Daegu, but
I'm not too. Daegu.
but it
Yeah.
was in South Korea. Um, yeah, I mean, I the little laugh is in disbelief. Um, the forensic was because they interviewed the actual person that was in charge, and say that when he went there, he was still in disbelief of how many mistakes they were doing, and that he will be able to do everything, all the hard work, like in 3 or 4 hours, if the people that was doing that were trained to do that. So it took 2 days instead of 3 4 hours. And he mentions like they were putting the bones in newspapers and say Not even world countries do that. And I'm from a third world country, and we don't do that. So that's why the little
Mm-hmm.
laugh, because we don't even do that, and I'm from one of those. Um, it's just incredible, incredible, disheartening, incredible how much they didn't actually care.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of things that you know uh, scream.
Well, I think they didn't care because like, they could have been told not to fucking care because I still think, well, it's it's hard. I don't know, unless they were shot without any bullets penetrating any of their bones, or was that the word, penetrating their
Mm,
bones? Because three of the skulls were found with uh, blunt force trauma,
mm-hmm.
but I think they were all this sort of same entrance and exit wound. I think, but it was definitely not a bullet. It was, jeez, that's the question. It was just fucking. I think they go into that in the documentary as well and give some examples of what it actually could be. But whoever hit those kids in the fucking head, um, they had no chance.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely no chance. It was entrance and exit, and their clothes were like all tied in knots.
Mm-hmm.
Like their their track tops were like tied behind their back, and um, just very strange.
Mm.
But like, can you be shot? Can you be shot and not like no evidence? Like the only evidence that you have is the evidence, external evidence, and once you start to decompose, that'll just
Well,
the bullet wound. But I
I
don't
have
know.
a theory, but I'm going to talk about that at the end. Right now, I'm just going to focus in the facts that the documentary gave us. Um, I think they just didn't care from the beginning, and then they found out that important people were involved. In this case, military, because military back in the day was like a regiment, like an how you say it, a dictatorship. Yeah.
Dictatorship, yeah.
So if they did that, who is above them that is going to say, punish them? There is no one. So I think at the beginning they actually didn't care because they were kids, and they were dismissing the whole thing like, oh, they were just playing outside. Maybe they went lost, or they run away, because I don't know, they have problems in the house. Those things that to this day they always say at the beginning. If a girl goes missing, probably she had problems with the parents, so she's a runaway. It's still the same. So there is nothing that has changed in these 30 years. So I think at the beginning they were just dismissive, thinking that it's nothing to worry, that they have too much work to be just, looking for random kids. And, well, one of the things that caught my attention is that after the media start taking the case, and making more popular the case, then the police get involved, and the posters, instead of putting like they are missing, they put they are runaways. They put runaway and the photo of the kid. And that's one of the things that the parents say, like, no, they are not runaway, they are missing. Why are you saying that they are runaways? They are not. So why, since the beginning, when I mean it got more attraction, they wanted to dismiss it like that. We already past the point of, they are going to come back, whatever. But since it attract a lot of attention, then it's, oh, no, 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 we are doing our job, but they are runaways. So you are preventing people if you never find them, like you are preparing people to never actually find the boy. To me, since that moment, it looks like they already know what happened to them, and they are just trying to, you know depends. Obviously, we're saying those things, but nobody care as usual. I don't know if you remember this part that I find really, really weird. Well, after that, they were given a lot of how you said it, media, press conference, and
Mm-hmm.
one of the guys introduced himself like some sort of entrepreneur manager or something, but it didn't have like any actual um, business or something in the card that he gave them. So they found out later that it was a person from the government, but from the intelligence department. And after that, they were followed everywhere, every step they did, and every place they went, they were followed, but by people from the intelligence department. I found that really, really weird. Why you care so much about what some parents are doing? You know?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think. Excuse
mhm,
me. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
mm. I mean, not only that, but after that, obviously, they were having prank calls, and people were trying to get some ransom. They went there, nobody came, but only freaking people from the intelligence department. That is so freaking, I don't know. And then the theory about the military, because they never got investigated or everything, it starts coming like, with full force, because out of the blue, at night, the military went to their homes because they were living like in some sort of circle, so all the houses were together, and went there and took the parents to the military facility and told them that they will give them superpowers, that they were going to empower them with what? I don't know. I don't know what thing they do the smoke or drink. And because of that, one of them, it was going to be empowered enough, enlightened enough to tell where the kids were, where the children are in that part. And supposedly one of the wives start like babbling and going all crazy, saying that the children were in one of the mountains, and all of them were there. Obviously, they went there, and yeah, but the military told them that to don't tell anybody, not even the police. What
Yeah.
the
And
fuck?
the fact that they were.
What the fuck?
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. Yeah. And the fact that where they were found, uh, all those years later, 11 years later,
Mhm.
um, they were found in a place that was fucking searched, like over and over and over again. A place that was also very close. Now, even this, I think this is the documentary. Now, they were very close in the they were very close to, as Jessica said, the military
Mm.
camp. But the actual rounds that these guys fire from these whatever fucking rifle it is that they are, these kids were pretty much within range of getting hit by a stray bullet,
M.
and
It was M16.
eh,
It was M16,
M16.
and
Oh yeah, see, I don't know my
the
guns.
bullet has a range of 2 kilometers. The bodies were found
Hmm.
200 meters from the firing range.
Plus, there was some. I don't know if they were live rounds or used rounds, but the same military grade bullets were found
Mm.
in one of the boys' track tops
Yes.
as well when their bones were found. So, but here's the other thing, right? There was a phone call that the parents got, a short phone call when they were like when the case sort of became national in Korea, and the phone call, and she still swears by it. The phone call was her son. It was very brief, but the kid says mum or says mummy or something on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
and that was all it was. But this was a significant time after they went missing that this phone call
Mm-hmm.
happened. So it's like, to me, it's like these kids were held captive somewhere for a long time and then executed.
You know, that could be a theory. Um,
I don't know if it was the military that held them captive, or you know, like you could say that once they went missing, they died almost immediately. But then you got that phone call
yeah.
from one of the kids.
In the phone call, I'm still inclining to think that it was just a prank because people like doing that. And parents in desperation will believe it was the boys.
That's true.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
because it happened to me. Some while ago, somebody called my mom, telling her that I was being captive, and she swears that it was my voice of the girl crying, telling her, "Mommy, mommy." She swears that it was my voice, and obviously it wasn't me. So I guess in a distressed position and everything, you can be confused by those things. So I'm a bit skeptical of that phone call, but I agree with you about the military. Um, there are so many
and you
things.
can't investigate the military if it's the
Mm-hmm.
military investigating the fucking crime.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
that's fucking
Yeah. No. No, no,
yeah,
I mean, it could be one of the theories that I read somewhere. It is similar to what you say that they were, because in the documentary, one of the parents think that it wasn't like right away because they have like incinerators on the military camp, so they could have get rid of those corpses right away. And
yeah,
but one of the theories that I read, it says that they think it was just some of the soldiers trying to hide it even from their superiors, because if they did that with the incinerator, the superiors will notice that they did something like that. So
yeah,
probably they took them, as you say, held captive, just to convince them that everything is going to be okay, and then just kill them and grab their heads with um, their own clothes and doing the knots, and take them before they got their rigor mortis and place them in that park, so hiding the bodies. But they are the some of I mean, some theories are similar to yours, that they say that probably it happened in the military camp, not precisely outside. um Now, from the facts, well, we talk about the psychologist. that out of the blue, because there are not, back in the day, they even criminal psychology was something like what, not something that they will hear, not even in Korea, I mean, I guess. And it was really weird that this guy coming and saying that he graduated from the States and is this and that and he knows. And I mean, people will believe it. And so, digging the whole thing and everything, some other people, and I do believe it was some sort of distraction to, not, I don't think they, I mean, I think they knew that there's nothing there, but it was a good distraction so people will forget to put in the blame in the military, because that theory was
Uh-huh.
gaining a lot of popularity. Everybody was asking why the fuck nobody has been asking questions to the military. And then, obviously, some time ago after that, the military accept that those little bullets and the others that were used, they were theirs. They accepted that, but that they didn't have anything to do with that, with the murders. So how you explain they have those bullets? Like,
Like five kids are not going to, no matter how fucking clever they think they are,
mm-hmm.
they're not going to have the balls they break into a military camp and steal live ammunition rounds, and that's the only other.
No, and especially
Like that's the.
no, and especially in Korean culture, you know how how Korean culture is. They go by the rules,
Yeah, yeah, true.
and especially back in the day. Imagine if you see them as dictators and militaries, all you know about, they are like gods, and they are children. They are going to do whatever they want them to do. If they say, I don't know, go there, they are going to go there. Cover your eyes, they are going to cover their eyes. They had so much power, and that's other stuff. At the beginning, the parents were worried, and I haven't seen not anybody saying about this. The parents were worried not because the premonition of a mother that everybody talks about, that it was because on the top of the at the entrance of that part of the mountain, there had a lot of dogs, and they believed that maybe, I mean, if they didn't come back when they supposed to, maybe the dogs were out and could have done something to the children, because they were big dogs and were, kind of dangerous. So that's why they were originally worried. That's why they were looking for them at that hour, because people have speculated about the hours, that it doesn't, make sense, and blah blah, how they were looking for them, because they have the worry about those dogs. And so yeah, then one of the kids told them that they were going to be looking for lizard eggs. The sixth boy, the boy that it was going to be with them, uh, they went back to his house to eat breakfast because he didn't eat breakfast. This happened in a holiday because they were holding elections. So nobody was going to work, nor to school, nor anything. So yeah, they went out really early, and the kid forgot to eat his breakfast, went back to his house, and the mother told him, like, don't go out to the mountain or really far from home. So he didn't go with them, but he knew the plans. So that's how they knew. Now, one witness say that he heard a shot, and a scream. That's what he told one of the parents. And another witness that I didn't see in the documentary has said that he heard a scream. It passed like 10 seconds and he heard another scream. So if you think that if they were outside and they were killed in that way because of what we saw in the skulls, it was with some sort of pike, like a farming tool. Um,
Yeah.
it could be like one, and then two, and then three. It could make sense the seconds if all of them are covered
Mm-hmm.
with their own clothes and they are not seeing anything. It could make sense
Mm-hmm.
that it was like that right away. Ahora bien, now, sorry, a bit of Spanish there.
Slips
Yeah,
out.
yeah. It's my bilingual brain. It's my bilingual brain. So after that, it will make sense the theory that is uh, they should. One of the parents said that he thinks, and most of the experts thinks that they kill one of the boys by mistake, and in a panic or whatever, that they don't say anything, that it was them, they kill all the others, but without using the guns, so they don't leave any lead or anything, to make to people know that they were there. Um, when you think about how the forensic tell that, well, he was super honest and he said that it was out of his league, that kind of knowledge, that he can only tell about the bodies, and because of the mistakes that the police made, he couldn't use the other bodies in part of the investigation. So we don't know about the state of the other bones. We don't know about the state of the other schools. He could only do an investigation of the ones they collect. And the ones they collect were the ones with the some sort of sharp wounds in the skull. So what
Mm-hmm.
happened to the other two? That's one of the things.
Fair.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
one of the theories is that because they knew that it was the military, that's why the police did these mistakes. And precisely in some specific bodies. Because, yeah, there were the bones there, but they were accompanied by the clothing. So if you say, okay, well, the one that I killed with the rifle was the one with the, I don't know, the red jacket. If you say, look for the one with the red jacket and screw that is in, because they were with the clothing. It wasn't like, oh, clothes for one side and the bones in the other side. No, they were like that. That's why the forensics say that he didn't believe that the bodies were moved, because they were perfectly uh, in a position that you will find remains. They weren't moved. They took some samples of the soil, and because when your body rots in the case, you freeze some chemicals, and they found those chemicals in the soil, in the ground. So they were. Uh, it seems a little bit morbid saying like this, but they rot. They were the bodies, the rotten bodies were there the whole time by 10 years. So he says that it's impossible to have moved those bodies, because otherwise the bones won't be in those places. So once again, if the clothing and the bones are in the same position that they die, or they put the body, because we don't know if they put the body there, you know? So if they're like that, it will be super easy to say, you know what? Yeah, I only need you to screw the body that it has like the green jacket or the blue jacket. And I do believe that it was on purpose. Because if they already called the forensic, why they have such hurry to start taking the bones out? They didn't have to. They could wait for him, for the forensic. The forensic was coming. Why do you have to start doing that? They didn't. So that's part of my theory. Um, it seems kind of weird that they. Well, no, it not seems weird. It's just normal. The hypothermia thing. Oh my God, why? Why the government has something with the hypothermia thing? Because every time that there's something weird that happened, like a missing person case or something, and they find the body, it's always hypothermia, always.
Yeah.
Now, this is one of the experts saying, because he was one of those that were called after um, they found the bodies. They wanted an expert to look in the surroundings and see if they could have died of natural causes. And he said that first of all, that night it was like, I think, 5 Celsius, so they could have died of hypothermia, and they were between 300 and 500 meters far from home. So if they were so used to going to the mountain looking for salamanders, lizards, frogs, whatever, because they are kids and whatever, why they didn't just go back home? They were really close, like half kilometer from home. They were like in front of their houses. So if it's starting to feel chill, you just go back home. It's impossible for them to be
Mm-hmm.
lost. So yeah, in his opinion, they were murdered. And I mean, if you see the schools and everything, yeah, they were murdered. Um, because government was saying that no, it was I think 3 Celsius, and with the wind chill in the mountain, it would be like really, really cold and blah blah blah. But they weren't lost. That's the whole thing. Now, if there are 500 of their homes, and the parents are saying that if the military place is surrounded by warning signs saying that, don't come close, they will respect that, and they won't be that stupid to come close to that. So another thing to add to this craziness, um, they say that because it was a holiday, there weren't any soldiers dead. But one of the parents said that commissioned soldiers, that is a rank a little bit above of a normal soldier, are free to go there and shoot, practice shooting anytime, any day. Is an open invitation for them to be there all the time, and there's nothing. So that's why they think that is probably why they didn't go into looking after them. And I mean, it just seems like they are mocking the parents by doing the whole thing in the night, and saying that they are going to give them superpowers, and those things that I don't know. I feel that they are mocking the poor parents by doing those things. And I mean, they have been looking for so many years. I think it was 500 times that they were looking in that place and they never found the
Hmm.
bones. But what if you personally, or you put people on your church and on that you are in charge of as volunteers and say you are going to look in that place, you say you are looking in that place and nothing is there, nothing is there, nothing is there, just by saying that nothing is there. I mean, if they
Yeah,
could mess up with the whole discovery of the bones, they could mess up with the whole freaking investigation since the beginning by saying that nothing is there. Oh no, I look in that in there. There's nothing. No, no, nothing.
yeah. Because it was some random person picking acorns that
Exactly.
found the bones. Yeah, so it wasn't even. Yeah.
Exactly.
It could be. I know this is definitely not the case, but if it was just the son or daughter even of some seriously high-ranking official that done it, and
Mhm.
he had he had the say over who was like the lead prosecutors and in charge of the case.
Mhm.
Someone with that much, it's like sounds like a pretty cool film, to be honest. Not to be mean disrespectful, but a high up, like the son of a high up
Mm.
ranking army official, accidentally kills someone, takes the other four boys hostage,
Mhm.
and kills them later and buries them. And he's covered up because his father's so powerful, or his mother is so powerful.
Mhm. It's simple as that. It's obviously a cover up. Um, and what makes me sad is the parents that say that they have met every single president that they had for this past 30 years, and all of them what they do is going to them to their houses, give them a check, taking a photo with them, and then they see the news that, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I met with them and blah blah, but they don't listen, they don't care anymore, they just give them keeps giving them money. And as they said, and other experts, journalists, and everybody has said, they don't care about the money, they just wanted their kids. And that's the part that is more heartbreaking of all, because that's reality. They just wanted the kids, and now they just want some justice in this life. Um, Sadly, the dad that was blamed by this freaking psychologist, that we don't even know if it was a psychologist, maybe it was a paid actor. We don't even know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like it's a bit sort of sus when this criminal psychologist has graduated from the United States of America, so everybody's like like the golden boy coming over and you know yeah,
Yeah, because it
definitely.
was out of the blue, and dude only said like, "Oh, I have been following this case, and I have read all the transcript and listened to these tapes and everything." I'm just like, how you have access to all that if you're just
Yeah, that's very true.
if you're a random guy like that suddenly appears and you say that you know, like that is that is sauce. That is very sauce.
Not only did he blame one of the fathers for killing the five kids, which was pretty much impossible. I think he was gone from, he was missing for like 30 minutes
Mm.
or something. So not only, yeah, he was missing for 30 minutes until he was, like, there was 30 minutes that he couldn't count for. So this criminal psychologist just says it was him. But not only did they do that, he also said that um, he buried the
Mm.
bodies in the house, in their family home. So imagine being that dad, and imagine being so fucking stupid they think that you'll be able to dig up that amount of concrete. Like their home was absolutely destroyed,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously there was nothing there, and the guy just fucking went with his tail between his legs, really.
Yeah, they have to be protected
And
by the police because people was
yeah,
furious. Uh,
yeah, it was like a mob going to get him.
yeah,
Fucking what an absolute asshole.
yeah. I mean, all the parents say that nobody believe it. Like, no. And I think it was 3 hours that went missing supposedly, but the job said that it was, there. Like, everybody was just justifying that he was there, but uh, that's.
And yeah, he was. You were saying that he's the guy. He died.
Hmm. Yeah.
That father died.
Sadly,
So that was
after
he.
all that,
Hmm.
supposedly was cancer, but the other parents say that it was because they think because it was between depression, anger, and that he never actually recovered from that episode because he felt so humiliated by that, by how and.
Yeah. What?
Mm,
Yeah. Um. No, sorry. There was just one little
mhm.
saying. I'm fucking trying to remember it because it's been a while. Um. Yeah, it says one of the fathers in the documentary says there's a saying here in Korea when it's like when you bury a parent, you bury them in the ground, but when you bury a child, you bury them in your heart. And I was like, oh my god, it's just like the fucking most heartbreaking shit. Like really.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Because what we know about not only they destroyed 5 kids, but families and a community, and I mean that parent died in that way, and the others one got become addicted to sleeping pills because he was depressed all the time. He wasn't sleeping or anything. Another got addicted to alcohol and was always fighting with the police. He was even in jail when they discovered the bones, and they were just so angry and sad because they all of them say that they feel like they fail as a parent because they didn't protect their child, um, their children, and that's one of the saddest things. Uh, One of the parents at the end of the documentary was saying that he knew his time in this earth was coming to an end, and that he has been patient, incredible patient, um, to trying to find what happened to his child, and that he will keep looking for it till his last day. And even if he wants to see his son, he thinks he can wait a little bit more, a little bit longer to see him again. And I was just like, oh my god, like so
Mm.
sad and so heartbreaking because that's the only way that they think they are going to see their children again. And what.
Mm. It's like
Mhm,
they blame
mhm,
themselves. They blame themselves for like not protecting their children, but the documentary, especially, really just shows how good of parents these folks really were. They went beyond. Like I'm not saying what it like everybody would probably do the same, but you know, you seen how good these guys were to these kids and how much they meant to them,
mhm.
and yeah, that was just it's just yeah very sad.
Yeah, because I mean, they were still holding hope that they were find them alive, and they say that when they found the bones, it was like his end, and it was so surreal for them because it really meant that they weren't ever going to see their children again. It was so hard. to actually accept that. And that's why they, oh, that part was just, oh. Um, they incinerate the bodies or their remains, and they threw them to the lake, but they mix together the ashes because they say that if they die together, they wanted them to keep playing together in the afterlife. I just can't imagine.
Hmm.
I just can't imagine the pain and the suffering. I was some days ago. I was watching another documentary and interviews, and one woman says something that it fits to this case. And she said that when you lost your when you lose you lost your parents, you become an orphan. When you lose your partner, you become a widow or a widower. But what are you when you lose your kid? There is not a word to describe the amount of pain. There is nothing that can describe the suffering of losing a kid. So there is not a term for that. And it's so sad to see these parents still to this day fighting with the government, with the police department, with anybody, with everybody, to just find the truth to what happened to their children. And they are probably not going to know. They are going to die without knowing. And that's just heartbreaking.
Also, the statute of limitations was lifted on that case in 2006, and
15.
but I think that no, 2006 it was lifted, but in 2015 or 16 they brought in a new legislation that uh, they that he could still be charged with the crimes,
Yeah,
he or
they
she.
they took off that it doesn't exist anymore in South Korea.
That's yeah from
Mm-hmm.
2015. I was doing some Google research. I know.
Yeah, no, in 2015 they 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 avoid that thing, the
Yeah.
statute of limitation.
Which is a fucking crazy thing anyway.
It's
It's a
ridiculous.
fucking crazy thing to have.
It's just ridiculous because
Kill. It's like
mm-hmm,
gives you intense. It gives you the intention to kill. They kill and get away with it for like 20 years. Then you're free.
yeah,
What?
yeah, no, I mean, and it's more ridiculous to this day because now we have the technology with the DNA and all these things that can, that they have been solving cases from 50, 60 years ago. So even if they are like, I think one of the cases, the guy, the killer was 70, 80 years old. He's still in jail now, because even
Mm-hmm.
if they find you like when you're about to die, I don't care. You're going to go to jail because of what you did. You deserve that. You deserve your last years of life to be in a prison. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy that they just avoid that thing because yeah, especially in first degree murder, because I think it was for first degree murder. And if they find any new evidence, they can reopen the case, and that is another sad thing. I don't know if they are going to do it because of the military, but yeah, I do have the theory that that was what happened. It was an accident, and that brings me to the other part. they are just checking on the skull or in the bones. But what about if it the because of the power of the bullet, it just rip off the heart or the bowels or one of the soft tissue that you can see it in the bones.
That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah,
And that
but
mm,
just yeah, definitely.
because everybody is going to the
But
head. Mm-hmm.
you would still have some sort of abrasions or marks if you get shot in the heart going through your rib cage, isn't it? Isn't your heart through your rib cage? It is, yeah.
That's the part that I we don't know. There are some so
Yeah,
there are
and
some cases, really weird cases. I don't know. Well, there are TV shows, and I know that I sound trashy because of that. That shows. I mean, people that are still alive, but they have like bullets inside of them because the bullet never go out. They just place in a they just for by millimeters. It's just there, and it didn't affect like a major artery or anything, like for 2 millimeters or something like that, and they have still those things. So
yeah.
there's a lot of things that there's a lot of stuff going there, and then we have like bullets in the stomach that they just make you die, or when they you know there has so many ways that it could have been, or maybe it has some if it was in the heart or in the chest, maybe one of the bones that they were um how you said it, like contaminated. We don't know, because at the end of the day, from the five bodies, two were contaminated and they couldn't do investigation on them. So we don't know about those two bodies. We don't know. And it just brings again the whole cover up thing.
Yep.
Now it just seems weird,
That's one.
like the bullets. It just seems weird that they have those. Maybe, and this is just a freaking crazy theory of mine. It was the way of a kid telling us that it was them.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he hid those in his clothes. They didn't notice when they killed him. So obviously, when the corpse,
Yeah, that's a good theory. That's a good theory.
mm, there,
Still,
mm-hmm,
the skull wounds were just, it was like they were shot with a fucking something that that you would kill cattle with in a farmhouse, like just something that completely ripped through their head.
mm-hmm.
And did all three skulls have that wound?
Yeah, that's I think
So it's
I
just
think one of them have
crazy.
more than the others, because the parents said that only his son was the one with 3 marks in his whole school, and that's, I mean, because the other was just like from side to side, and the other was just but his son had three. So, but yeah, all of them say that they don't know, but they think they were farm tools. So
Yeah,
probably.
there was some amount of force
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
Some
Mhm.
it was just that's and yeah, just insane. Fucking to even think about that. What those kids went through. So
I know, it's just so sad. I mean, they were trying to make like a whole political statement with the movie, like the children one, that it was the psychologist that was thinking that it was because it was election day, and they wanted to distract the people to not going to vote by looking for the children. Blah, 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 blah. That's what I say, that it looks more like government propaganda than an actual film in that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean,
Like it's pretty much the military, and everybody knows it.
mm-hmm,
Like it's a certainty that it's the military, or they have at least something to do with it.
mm-hmm.
And yeah, but as I said, you can't, like, they were the ones investigating. Who investigates the people that's investigating the crime?
Mm.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the parents know, but they just need the confirmation, like, like tell me that I was right, tell me that this is what happened to my kid.
Yeah,
Just to, be in peace. And I really hope that the remaining parents uh, can get that peace. I can. That's one of the things that I always say, that it's worse when you don't know. You think it's hard when you see the that your kid was killed or whatever in that way. I mean, um, but I think it's worse not knowing what actually happened.
yeah,
Yeah, this is a really sad case. I mean, all the cases are sad and are heartbreaking, but I think the nature of this is just soul destroying, to be honest.
mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, because like obviously, like, we touch on the bits of the case, but the in this case, it's, the parents are so involved in it that, they are the people that's basically taking the lead in the case. They're, you know so you're seeing that, and for them putting in all this effort and going through everything and still getting no answers, and just pretty much being made a laughing stock of.
mm-hmm. Yeah, they
You
feel
know,
so disrespect for
always the
how they were
fucking
treated,
government.
and I understand. And we wish we could say that this case at the end had like an actual ending. Obviously, not a happy ending, but an actual ending. Sadly, is not the case. Um,
Yeah. Well, at least they did find the bodies, but yeah, still there's still nobody been held accountable yet for it.
mm-hmm,
So I wish we could say we could cheer things up for our next case, but that's probably not going to happen. It's not very
no.
funny, funny subject.
Yeah, no, but at
But yeah,
least some cases with that resolution, at least it gives
yeah,
you a sense of satisfaction to know that the culprit got caught and got punished, or. But in this case, that
yeah,
it's just a terrible loss, and that's all. There is nothing else. So yeah, it makes your heart soars, and cry for the parents.
yeah,
Um, we hope that they can actually take the people that accountable, the guilty ones. But it seems really, really hard.
yeah. So yeah, that is the Frog Boys episode. And what we were saying, we could just reiterate where you can what was available. There was Come Home Frog Boys
Uh
from
huh.
the early 90s,
Yeah.
1992,
Uh huh. That is on YouTube. If you speak,
without subtitles. If you
yeah,
speak Korean, yeah.
hope you speak Korean. I mean, with the whole K-pop, I think most people is learning Korean, so
Uh,
you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And we have
Yeah.
Children that it was in movie, but now I don't know. I guess you can find it in other places, but we can promote
Yeah.
those places. And finally,
I even checked Amazon,
uh,
and it's not even on
yeah,
Amazon, so it's quite a hard one to find.
well, not really hard, but if you want to official places,
If you want it, you can
yeah.
find it.
In Search of the Frog Boys is available in YouTube too. So yeah, check.
Which is brilliant.
Yeah, I highly recommend to watch that documentary. Is so much better than all the little some sort of documentaries that you see in the true crime on YouTube. And that's the thing. It's a really well known case in Korea, but it's in this side of the world. It's not that well known, and the people that has cover, I don't know if that happened to you, they don't really go deep into what actually happened. They just stick to the, you know, what you can find in Wikipedia, and that's a shame because
Hmm.
I wish more people could put some pressure, you know, that the media could.
I've got a confession.
What?
I've got the Wikipedia page open. Right.
Well, but
No shame. Well, I did earlier on. Not now,
no,
but
but
that's how I knew the statute of limitations and stuff.
but no, but I mean that you actually saw the documentary because we were talking about the documentary.
I have,
We
yeah,
talked
yeah,
about this
yeah.
before, you know, here. So yeah,
Hmm.
and yeah, I mean, I highly recommend to watch the documentary because it has some more.
It's the best.
Mhm. Yeah, more than
It's the best out of the
yeah,
lot.
better than we just watch like true crime docus. But you can hear us. We do our best.
Yeah, we
we,
try, we
we
try.
try. We try.
But it's like the film, as I say again, the film is the 2011 movie Children is actually really really good. But again, incredibly fucking sad. It's a really sad drama, and it's um
I
yeah. So approach it like that if you
uh
want to get a
huh.
little cry to yourself. You know.
No, well, if you want to cry, watch the documentary because I mean, I actually like two, three times talking about this, I tear up a little bit because
Yeah.
it's just so hard to talk about this. I mean, if the pain I felt losing my mom is just 110 or 100, of over 100 of what they felt, dude, I will be freaking destroyed. So
Oh, of course.
so that's what I when it's these things like that, um it just not only it makes you feel the pain, but it angers you, you know. It angers you because you know that the solution, that the guilty is right in front of your nose and nobody's doing something, you know. And that's the part that I think it angers you the most because the freaking culprit is in front of them, but it's like untouchable or something. So that I think that is the part that is more disheartening in this case.
Hmm.
But well, we hope that next case is not as well. We know which one is going to be, so it's not going to be
Yeah.
that 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 I'm going to get angry by talking about it. But yeah,
Hmm.
but still, if you have some cases, movies that you want to recommend us, that you want to hook up with, please feel
Yep.
free to, you know, tell us and do all the YouTube things as as they say.
Yes, I know you have to say all the YouTubey things, the like and subscribe and all that jazz, and hit the notification bell.
Yeah.
You know
And please
all
let
that. But yeah,
mhm.
what
No,
What? You go? No, you go ahead.
Please let us know if you want some case in particular. Uh, yeah, that's all.
Yeah, and we'll be back. We will be back next week with another episode, and we hope you enjoyed this. And thank you very much. Bye bye from me and Jessica. Bye.
Bye.